Believe it or not, I almost always have a plan when I hit record, but not today. A lot can happen in 2 weeks. The day after I put the lacewings out, I ended up underwatering without checking the weather, and it was one of the hottest days that we've had. And as you can imagine, and as you can see here, we've got a lot of damage to the plants. This guy's missing some sort of nutrient despite getting fertilizer, which is obviously why it's a completely different color. The plant in the middle was the one that took most of the damage from the heat. The one on the end's still doing pretty well. The one in the corner is also doing really well. I found out at some point that the vines were kind of intermingled, and so I spread them out, which is how we end up filling up this entire fenced-in area now. Also, during this time, in addition to the aphids, birds started coming down and attacking. They killed the one that was on the end here, is gone. So I put up what's called bird scare tape. Link in the description if you want to pick some up. Not very expensive, kind of mylar material, almost like a birthday or a get well soon balloon. Put it up, it moves in the wind, and evidently it's enough to keep the birds away because it's done a pretty good job. You see here on this guy, I actually mounted it directly to the stem of the pumpkin, and that seems to be keeping the birds away. However, true to form, something else got in the way. Right here, the fence wasn't totally nailed down, and some sort of varmint was able to get under and just was able to munch the ever-living daylights out of this poor gentleman who was going to be the prize pumpkin, and now I think is probably in second place. We're still hopeful that we're going to get a decent harvest. We have this guy down here that's starting to come in. The one in the corner back this way, it's actually getting pretty big now. Got another one that started coming up off of the fence in the corner here. Starting to get to be a good size. Compared to my hand, he's probably 3 or 4 inches in diameter. The beans are still holding on back here. These pole beans are actually vining and coming up. They are about halfway up these stalks of corn. So that will be exciting. We have them just starting to go to fruit, starting to flower down in here. You can see that. And it's just been one thing after another. One thing after another. I also put in a lot more ground cover, a lot more of this mulch here to try to keep in as much moisture as possible because it's just been almost historic heat out here in city and state. Oh, and this guy just fell in half. Literally fell in half. Do you know why? I don't know why. I have no idea why this happened. The corn just decided to fall into 2 pieces. And if I didn't make it clear before, of the 2,500 lacewings I should have had, I saw maybe 3 or 4. I think the ants got into it and actually ate all the eggs, all the larvae. Very sad. In addition to everything else that was going on, I don't know what the right answer to that is. I think maybe you can try to grow the lacewings inside in a more protected environment and then put them outside. I don't know if we'll try that again. Fortunately, it looks like the aphids are actually gone, so I don't know where they went, but they don't seem to be here anymore. Right now we're just battling the dryness and the heat and the birds and the squirrels or the rabbits or whatever else. But learning experience, and we're still going to get some sort of harvest off of it, so I'm still optimistic for Halloween. Nobody's safe. Everybody's got some battle damage, some scars, but they don't seem to be any worse for the wear. So I think we'll go off of this guy that's already broken here. Compost some of this. So this corn, if I read correctly, is supposed to be ready once the end here starts to get dark. So let's go ahead and take a look. Hopefully there's corn in here. This is where corn comes from, isn't it? Oh, there he is. Okay. Oh, wow. Huh. Look at that little guy. It's got some nice color on some of them. I wonder if somebody ate all of this or if it just didn't grow. Wow. I made this. He's so cute. A couple different colors. So I've also heard that you're not supposed to let it dry out. You should be able to squeeze it and something white comes out. And that seems to be where we are. So should be good. I'm gonna grab a couple of these others. Okay. I was about to say these are really wet, seem to be holding a lot of water, and then I remembered I literally spent 15 minutes watering them. Gotta be careful, I don't want to take anything that's not totally done yet. Also, look at these ants. Terrible. And I also don't want to take anything that the beans are leaning on to climb here. Probably why they use machines commercially. This is a lot of work. Yes, my efforts have been rewarded with this bountiful harvest. This bountiful harvest of ants. I mean corn. Mostly corn. Still a lot of ants. Now what? So I went inside and took a nap. And then I looked up how to shuck corn. Turns out a lot of people recommend leaving this to dry on the stalk. Whoops. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I've been up front with that from the beginning. So this is called multiple ear, same stalk. It's a mess, which I think is kind of interesting. I also learned today that the tassels, or the male part of the plant that come up at the top, actually pollinate the silks that form here, and then they shrivel up and reach the end of their life cycle. But each one of these strings on the silk actually catches the pollen from the same plant, and it travels down and is linked to a kernel, which is actually the seed. So it's kind of interesting if you have a multiple variety of corn all planted together, they can cross-pollinate, and you actually get a hybrid, not only in the seed, but actually in the product, in the fruit here. So you probably see a little bit of that. This originally was going to come up with these different colored kernels anyway, but we might actually be seeing some cross-pollination here. Also, it's interesting that each one of these silks comes down to the end here. I remember earlier thinking that some had eaten some of the fruit here, but actually it's more likely it's improperly pollinated and it just didn't fully develop based on not having enough pollen. Each one of these silks goes down to what would have been an individual kernel. Each one is tied in there, almost like he's tied into the matrix. Red pill or blue pill? Comment below.